lounging, son.
Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Lounge podcast. My name's Ryan, and my co-host's name is Dylan.
What's going on, guys?
And today we have a special guest for you guys. We got Genevieve back on the show.
Hello, everyone.
So this week we are covering Canto by David Booher and artist Drew Zucker. Dylan and Jen both read the book. They both spoke very highly of it. I think it was one of Jen's picks of 2019. I hadn't read it, so I figured, shit, why not fucking check it out? And who better to have on the show with us to talk about it than Jen?
Yes.
The main reason I picked it up. How have you been, Jen? What have you been up to lately?
I've been, really tired because I've been taking on projects for my Instagram that I can't keep up with, but, that's life.
This is like the most I've talked to Jen in like a series of 1 week. Like,
yeah.
This is great. I love it. More Jen, more Jen, more love. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. How are you guys?
I'm
I'm
good.
tired, bro. I'm so tired.
I know, you look tired. That's the life of a fucking cook, bro.
Yeah.
What have you been reading?
I'm blasting through that freaking compendium. I swore to Ari that I was gonna get it done in a week, and I almost did until like I found out I can't pick up compendium 2 from you until next week, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna slow down. But man, Oh my god, dude, I'm so mad at myself. I'm so mad at myself. Like that series, I'm so mad that like I didn't like jump on it.
You didn't listen to Ryan?
Yeah. Dylan's always late to the party. #. And that I think Jen would enjoy it too because it's like it's a self-contained universe. It starts off as like a regular trope of a superhero tale, but then it turns into something that's just
you're not even, you're only a third of the way. You have no idea, Jen. I think it's the only
2/3 of the way. I'm almost done. I'm like issue 35 right now.
Through the series, I mean.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the one superhero book, Jen, that you would like.
Yeah,
because
I think so too.
It's more about the relationships between people and not so much the superheroics. I did tell you that I read all 3 compendiums in a week, right?
Fucking boss shit, dude.
Where do you find the time to read 3 compendium?
I would wake up
Who
early.
has the time to read nowadays?
Wake up early, dude. You know what I mean? That's what I would do. Wake up 2.5 hours before everybody else and just read. I can power through a book, though, especially if it's something I already read, so I think I kind of go on autopilot if it's something I've read before. I'm absorbing what I'm reading, but only the new things end up sticking out to me that I didn't pick up the first time.
Yeah, no, that's how I felt about Canto this time around. Like, I was pretty enthralled with it. Like the first time, I was just, it's great. It's a great book. But anyway, Invincible, Jen, you should read it. I really think you'd like it. It talks about it especially deals with like, it feels like a slice of life comic, but it's also like a superhero comic, and there's like extenuating circumstances that like make it awesome. And then the way that Kirkman writes it, so much stuff comes into play, but it's just like the beginning of it, and I know it's gonna blossom into like this crazy thing like coming in the coming compendiums. It's really good.
I love my daily messages from you where you tell me something else that you're on some other part that you're at.
I'm just going to add it to the list, though. Ryan, I'm going to try to pick up this weekend Love and Rocket. I bought... Yeah. I bought that from a friend. So I just need to go pick my purchases, which is the hardest part for me because I have to, like, go outside and try to find time to, like,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so what else am I reading? I'm putting myself through a course of self-deprecation and sadness. I'm reading like 3 Tom Taylor titles. I'm reading Injustice Year 1. It was already on my list, and then I saw that Abby was reading it, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna read it. Yo, she blasted through Year 1, 2, and 3 in like 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's good. It's really good. And then, I've been on all new Wolverine for like past month now, and I'm doing it slowly. I binged like 3 volumes in like 1 weekend. Now I'm just kind of like slowly making my way through. But there's one that was like all these people get hit with like an alien disease, right? Mm-hmm. And like Wolverine is like literally the cure. Like she touches people. She was like a little mutant messiah. It was like freaking touching. It like made my heart burst. I was like, ugh! they're literally designed for killing, but now they're like saving an island in New York full of people that's like diseased with this alien disease. It's like, oh, it was great. Yeah, and then Invincible. So 4 titles. I'm freaking blasting through. I'm trying to blast through, and then like I told you guys earlier, I'm like 2 weeks behind on my subs, so like I don't even have crap to talk about like as far as like DC and Marvel.
I mean, you're not missing anything, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're not.
Yeah.
I have been reading, and I could have not read, and I wouldn't have been sad. You know, the only thing that I've read in the last 2 weeks that has excited me was Pulp.
Oh yeah, I need to read that.
You're gonna love it. Oh my
I know.
God, so
I just need to
and
find
then
time.
you weren't getting the single issues of Criminal, right?
Yes. Actually, I read the 8 volumes from the I think I'm really lost with Criminal, to be honest. I read the 8 volumes right now, and I have singles of the one that came out last year, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say they have a hardcover coming out on Wednesday.
But I prefer hardcover. Like I haven't read all the singles.
I know, me too. I have a sickness. I'll have all the singles, and I'll buy the trade, and then after the trade, I'll buy the hardcover. And if they release something else again, I'll probably buy that. I mean, I love Brubaker. So, what do you guys think about, like, okay, so they dropped the news, right? Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips are going to do a series of original graphic novels. I would love to get your guys' opinion. Me personally, I like hardcovers. I don't mind not getting single issues and just getting like 3 hardcovers a year, because then you don't have to wait. You get one story. What are your thoughts on that? Are you down for that as well, or do you prefer to like get them in short bursts?
I am like slowly liking the idea of like just dropping all my subs and just getting trade paperbacks or like hardcovers, because honestly, like with the way everything is now, especially, you know, because of the coronavirus stuff, everything's so staggered. Like you got Marvel coming out every 2 weeks, you have freaking DC dropping their stuff on Tuesday, and it's weird, and it's just like everything is so spread apart. Like Strange Adventures, we literally have to wait for a month per issue, and like the way the story is told is so complex and it bounces back and forth so much. I'm just like, bro, like I just rather just sit down and read it all. Like, you know, you know, like with Tom King's Mr. Miracle, like by the time I knew how great it was from other people telling me, it was already on like issue 10. So like I didn't have to wait, you know what I mean? And then I copped the whole collected edition, and it was freaking fantastic. And then thinking about it, like if I would have read it like in individual issues, I would have been mad. Like kind of like how I am right now with freaking Strange Adventures. It's a great story, don't get me wrong, but
I know issue 4 was exactly what you thought it would be. It's jumping between. So you hit the nail right on the head with that, where it was gonna tell Mr. Terrific's part. And by the way, I forgot that was a really good issue, and that's why I said fuck Tom King, because he pissed me off so much that I took the book off my pull, but I still read the book. It was really fucking good.
I agree with Dylan, though. Like I prefer reading. First of all, I love trades. I love hardcovers. The thing with me is that I never read at home. I read on my way to work, so in the bus. So I need something like convenient. And then I don't like to transport singles because, you know, they're fragile and stuff. And big series like Middle West or Monstress and stuff like that, I can't read singles because I get lost. I forget things.
That's how I feel about Die.
Yeah.
Okay, so I read volume 1. I bought the first issue of Die when it first came out, and I liked it. I loved, mostly the art was what I loved, right? I didn't continue picking it up for whatever reason. I bought the trade. I read the whole trade, and I loved it. And then I went back and got the other issues that I was missing so that I could start getting the singles. And then I was like, month to month, I'm like, what the fuck is happening in this book, dude? Like I loved it before, and now I'm reading it every month, and like I don't understand what's happening. So I agree, like getting lost and stuff like that.
Especially with time. If Strange Adventures was like a bi-weekly thing, hell yeah. But like Jen said, like with Monstress, there's just so much information and so much going on in each and every single issue that it's like you get to the next issue and you're like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah, dude.
Like, and you know, just like as far as Monstress goes, it's like if Kippa's alive, I'm cool. I'll stick with it. But especially with how complicated like a lot of these stories are becoming now, I feel like writers they're not openly saying it, but they're literally trying to one up each other now. There are a lot of great titles out right now, but man, it's just an overload of like information, like decorum for instance, right? Decorum is there's just so much going on. It's literally only been 3 issues, but dude, I'm lost as hell.
It's fucking Hickman. That's why you're lost. He's got too many fucking graphs and charts. I love Hickman, dude, but sometimes his charts and the graphs, and I'm like, it's beautiful. The art, Mike Huddleston is on some other kind of level with that art. I don't know if you've read it, Jen.
No, well, I've read the first of the Decorum. I read the first number, okay. But then right away I was like, no, this I can't read this in singles. I need to wait.
Huddleston is like, I don't know what the fuck he's on, but that dude literally had like 3 to 4 different art styles in that first issue.
Yeah,
and they're all amazing. But I agree, like I like Hickman, so I kept reading it, but I still couldn't tell you. Like, if you asked me to describe what I read after I did, I couldn't do it because I have no fucking clue. It's something that I think needs to be read in trade. So, I think I agree. I like reading stuff in trade. I mean, if I like a book, I don't want to go back and read my singles. I'll just pick up the trade or the hardcover. I do know that in the scheme of things, not necessarily is it bad that Brubaker's doing it because, I'm all for it. But I do know that if single issues stop coming out, like, there's no comic book store, essentially, right? Because you can get it on Amazon, you can get it at bookstores. So that's the only thing that I think could be bad. Like Invisible Kingdom was just announced that the final arc is going to be original graphic novel. It's not going to finish out in singles. So if people keep doing this, I hope it doesn't affect the comic book stores. Because I know, like, if I were to own a store, the majority of my store would be hardcovers and graphic novels. I would have subs that could get their single issues, but I think I would just make it more like a bookstore and less like a comic book store. You know what I mean? Just for more casual people to be able to come in, so I could have the best of both worlds, It
is a tricky situation, but the thing is, it's like, don't you think that if they released it faster, people would be more on board with getting the single issues? Because this whole 1 month waiting for a thing. I mean, yeah, they've been doing it since like the beginning of print comics. Like they've been doing like 1 month, but also there are like numerous titles. Like think about Spider-Man. Spider-Man throughout the course of his like 60-year history, 70-year history, he's had multiple titles going on at once. Like it's even with his like crazy story arcs, like the story arcs would bounce in between issues. Like, you know what I mean? Like it'd go from amazing to spectacular to Marvel classics.
I feel like you're talking about Maximum Carnage and the Clone Saga right now.
We don't talk about the Clone Saga.
Yeah, I agree with you. I see what you're saying, but look, the problem is, right, it's not... Like, I was just talking to an old school writer this morning, and he made a good point. Like, people are writing for the trade. You can't jump in and read a single issue, and that, in of itself, is going to alienate new readers. Because anybody should be able to jump in to any comic book, pick up any issue, and feel like they got their money's worth and not be like, what? I don't understand. Like, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, there is ways to do that. I don't think it's an impossible task. Readership is not what it used to be. Books don't sell what they used to sell. You know what I mean? Like, 100,000 copies of a comic book, back then, that book was getting canceled in the 90s or the 80s. 100,000 was nothing. And now that's like the best that you'll see in a comic book. And, if single issues go, I think direct market goes. And that's the only thing I'm worried about. And think about, like, if you're a kid, right, and you're trying to get into comics, what are the chances you're going to have $20-25 to drop on a trade? No, it's easier to get a single issue for kids, and we want to see kids become comic book readers like we did when we were kids. It's, it's not the same like it was. I know Jen did like an article about like, all ages comics. I'm seeing the growth because I'm researching for my kid also, but like in the shop, like there's Scholastic does a lot of stuff. I mean, Raina Telgemeier, she sells more graphic novels than any single person in the comic book industry. She sells millions of copies of her books, Guts and Smile. She just won an Eisner. I think Marvel and DC, like, they need to figure this shit out. They need to figure out how to cater to younger audiences and grow readership instead of just trying to like appease, like, let's say you and I, Dylan. the old, or
But that's the thing.
or the fans even older than us,
That's the thing, though. When I started reading comics, I didn't know anything. So I thought Marvel and DC was everything. And it got really overwhelming to go to the shop, face the Marvel DC shelves with all the singles, and being like, where do I start? What the fuck is this? Like, I'm completely lost, Whereas a trade, it's easy. Volume 1, perfect. Let's go. Volume 1, Like, for me as a young reader, that was easier. But it's true that money-wise, it was harder to purchase. I purchased like one comic a month, one trade a month because I didn't have the money. But in terms of consumer, I always preferred trade and hardcovers. Always.
I mean, it took me a little while to get into that, but now, well, Dylan knows. I'm dropping like 100, 125 on like those, those large, fucking oversized books.
Dude.
What?
At the shop, I was looking at the shelf, and there's a used Absolute Watchmen for $40.
Buy that shit. That's amazing. That's less than half. That's 60% off. You're buying it, aren't you? You're gonna buy that shit.
Yes, I am. I'm gonna do it as a package deal. I'm gonna get that whole Todd McFarlane Spider-Man run with the Absolute.
All right. Yeah. I want to say I hate you, but I don't hate you. I'm jealous. I want that Todd McFarlane. I was just looking on mycomicshop.com earlier, and I was like, how much is this gonna cost me if I get all the issues? And that's just the adjective list one. I'm talking about the one he wrote and drew. I don't know if you're getting amazing issues in there too or not.
No. Actually, I've only found a couple of amazing issues, but it's more of the Marvel Tales that he did covers for. A lot of stuff with where he integrated Spider-Man and the X-Men. So dude, his Iceman is sick. His freaking Angel is dope. Like, it's crazy. It's so good. But yeah.
See, this is why you need to fucking do videos, Dylan, with me. The excitement in your face when you fucking talk, dude. This is what
I have a very expressive face. I had my mid-year review, and they were saying like, Dylan, you did excellent. Everything was great. It's just you make faces at customers and they report it.
What fucking faces, dude?
Like, bro, like someone asked me for a patty melt, and I'm just saying, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, well, but but whatever. Like, it's whatever. But back to the whole collected stuff. Like, the collected stuff, dude, it's great, man. Like, there's certain stories that deserve to be a graphic novel, right? But also, like, if you think about it like this, like, I don't know if this is true or not, but like the sales of individual issues affect the price of the trade paperback, correct? Like, that's why when you pick up like Paper Girls Volume 1, it's like $10.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily? Okay, cool.
With Image,
it's really cheap. The first volume is often really cheap.
Well, you'll see that not all first volumes, like Excellence, for instance, was not $9.99, right? Mm-hmm. That is up to the creator whether or not they want to price it at $9.99. Now, this is just me speculating on what their thinking is. But maybe if their sales weren't high enough on the singles, that's why they decide, like, no, we got to price it comparable to the singles. But you got a Brian K. Vaughan. He can afford to be like, let's have the first volume for $9.99. You have people like Marjorie Liu, who's a fucking professor at Harvard or whatever school that she works at. You know what I mean?
Let's say Oxford, make her fancy.
Okay, Oxford, and like, she could do it $9.99. Like, I think based on their sales. So I guess what you said is kind of right, but it's not up to the publisher. It's up to this with Image. It's up to the specific creator, because I know I think I might have asked somebody that, or I read it somewhere. I don't know. Other publishers, I have no idea. I mean, you notice only Image does that $9.99 thing. Yeah, nobody else do that.
Yeah,
and I think it's brilliant. I think it gets new readers. If they were, well, I know I'm jumping around, but like, if they were to go to just original graphic novels, I don't necessarily think like we're gonna see Canto, for instance. You know what I mean? Like, is this book gonna get backed if it's just released as a trade? Is it going to do as well if it's just as a trade? Because the singles help build the readership, right? Like, the first issue drops and people start talking about it, and then the readership grows for the next issue. People start talking about it. It goes and so on and so forth. So I think that there should be a happy medium. I think maybe a writer like Brubaker, I'm cool. Release a graphic novel. I'll buy it. And then Brian K. Vaughan, if he were to tell me Saga's coming back and it's coming back in original graphic novel, I don't care what the fuck it's coming back in. Just give me Saga. You know, like, I'll read it. It's
coming back in flipbook form. I'll buy it.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be down for that. Yeah.
I don't know, like, because like for a long time, like before I hopped back into like getting single issues, I was literally just getting only trade paperbacks. I was only getting like a lot of the trade paperbacks that I have now, like they're literally because I wanted to catch up. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Saga, like I was again late to the party, and you know, I picked it up and it was all volumes, all straight volumes. Now that I'm like stuck in this like kind of pattern, I feel like I don't need to get the single issues. Kind of like with Paper Girls, like I was collecting the volumes as it was still going on, and you know, like I waited, even though friggin' the last like 4 or 5 issues like were released while I was like super heavy getting single issues again. I waited, and friggin' just waited for that last volume 6. I feel like for certain stories, I'd prefer it to be in original graphic novel because I can't.
But I feel it's for a longer story because, for example, Little Bird, I read the whole thing with singles and I loved that. You know, like I really adored it. But Saga, I will never be able to read it in singles. It's too heavy. But in Little Bird, there's one there's one principal character. It's an easy like action, you know, it's easy action, you can follow, it's a linear thing, whereas Saga, there's so many characters, it goes up and down, one chapter it's one character, the other chapter is another character, so you can't follow with just like mensual number, you know.
It's definitely a tricky situation, but like at this point right now with the way everything is, especially with like the uncertainty as far as like shops being open, like it's rough, dude. It's rough. It's hard decisions to make. Ryan has no problem. Ryan is just like, man, fuck this fucking series. I'm gonna fucking not even fucking read it. I'm not even fucking put it on my pull.
Is it me?
Yeah, you guys. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Like Empire, like, you know, for as massive as it is, like with all the tie-ins. That's how I feel with like upcoming like Swords of X. Like when they released the all the tie-ins plus the main storyline, I'm like, I don't want any part of this.
Dude, the only X book I have is X-Men.
I mean, mine's is
X-Men Wolverine. Yeah, I don't know. I read the last Wolverine, and that was one of those books where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for the trade.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, like that one, I was like, look, I will support the writers, the artists that I love and that I admire, and I will buy the singles, and then I will buy the trade because it's their stuff. The money's going to them, right? Marvel and DC, those motherfuckers are gonna put out a trade. So, you know what I mean? Like,
regardless. Yeah.
Oh wait. I don't need to fucking support Wolverine. Wolverine's gonna be okay without my money. This hot trash Empire event is going to be just fine. so garbage. You know, I told you last week, right, that I talked shit to Ed about Empire?
No.
I didn't tell you. So Ed is the owner of the shop, Jen. So he was getting his books after the delivery came. And he, you know, because he'll take his books home and then bring them back, right? So he grabbed Empire, and I was like, I looked at him like, you're still reading that? And he's like, yeah, it's great. I'm like, no, it's not. It fucking sucks. Why the fuck are you wasting your time reading that? And the look on his face, like I had just told him like his dog died or something. But like then when I was like talking about something else, he tried to like play it off like that it wasn't that good. And like, dude, you're reading fucking Empire. You know what I mean? That book is horrible. It is the hottest of trash to come out from Marvel in years. We're talking about alienating readers. That
alienates readers, especially.
You know what I mean? Like you heard Jen. She's like, "What the? What the fuck? Where do I start?" You know what I mean? Like, and then you go into a shop and there's Empire X-Men, Empire Captain America, Empire this, Empire that. Oh wait, and Empire's coming out every single fucking week. By the way, you know, like
that's mostly why I don't read Marvel.
Yeah.
Or DC. It's just too much for me. I don't have the patience and the time to do my research and to find out where to start. It needs to be clear and easy.
I think that's a good segue. Let's talk about Canto. This is a nice book, easy book to pick up. You know what I mean? I'll start because it is my first time reading it. So Canto was released, published by IDW, written by David Booher, art by Zucker, colors by Vittorio Astone, and letters by Deron Bennett. I really enjoyed this book. I don't want to say that I was surprised that I enjoyed it because I trust both of your opinions and both of you had nothing but good things to say about it.
I gave it a 10 out of 10, dude. I freaking love this book.
I mean, my only problem is that it took me long to read the book. I don't know why I didn't read it sooner.
So it's a personal problem.
It's a personal problem, yeah, with myself, yeah. While it had heavy themes a little bit, it was such a lighthearted book, and I breezed through it. And I didn't breeze through it in the sense that I was like trying to push through it, because sometimes when I'm rereading something, sometimes I just try to push through it. I'm like, I got to get through this book, because my fucking pile of books that I need to get through is so daunting that I'm like, oh, dude, I want to get this book over with. This book, on the other hand, I felt like I told Jen, this was like reading an 80s animated film. From a smaller company, not a Disney 80s animated film. Like
it's like The Hobbit.
Dude, I and this little fucking guy, dude, I fucking love him, dude. If there was some way to dress my kid up as Kanto for cosplay, I would do it. I just don't have the money to do a good one. But this little dude, man, and his journey to save the princess and you know, like you find out that the tale that he was telling in the beginning isn't even real. At the end, it was all a facade, and like the only thing that I really want to know, and I hope he touches on it in the new volume that's coming out, is what were they before? Like they had hearts, but they don't have hearts anymore. I don't know, just the journey, and when with that, what's the name of the fucking the beast or whatever that he like rolls around with? Dude.
You know what I love? Just like looking through it again. Like the way that Zucker sequences the whole thing. Like it's very action packed, but it's easy on the eyes.
Yes.
And the way the paneling works.
It's a Malarex.
Malarex.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Malarex, the design of that, the slavers, and the slavers are like, what are they fucking? They're like cow people or bulls or some shit.
They're horse people.
All right, well,
I thought they were a cow.
Are they cows? Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
they're cows.
Horses don't have horns, honey. But yeah. Oh no. Yeah. They kind of. I guess the hooves kind of.
It might be a mix of everything.
Yeah, but either way, dude. Yeah, just like the design of all these characters, and like I want to know more. When I closed the page on this trade, I'm like, there's back matter, and I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, what's next here? I'm kind of glad I don't have to wait long, to be honest with you, because. I did pick up the one shot. I haven't read it yet because
the Clockwork Fairies.
Yes, I didn't want it to like.
It's a setup. It's a setup for the new arc, but there's just the same amount of cuteness and heart in it. You know what I mean? That's what I love about it. It's like he's such an adorable little fucking Clockwork Knight, dude. Yeah, and all he has is an axe.
He doesn't take shit from no one, dude. He don't give a fuck. He's like, I'm here in that scene where he's like, I'm here to train, homie. You know? Yeah. I'm here to train. And you know what? And like, it could have been so easy to not be able to tell them apart, but just that red ribbon on his arm. And he like there's never a page where I was like, I had to look for him. I had to figure it out. Like it always caught my eye. I was always able to jump to it. I really want to chat with David Booher. I hope.
Dude, he's a local. He's always at a Collector's Paradise in Pasadena.
I know. I've been trying to do an interview with him for a while, and he's been like, you have to read the book. You have to. He even sent me the book, and I didn't read it, and I don't know why I didn't read. Stop. Just stop.
I wish the world could see my face right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I even told him, I said, let's get an interview going. I said, I'm gonna read volume 1. I really just I wanted to read it in physical form. You know, like I have a hard time reading digitally. It's hard for me to get down with not having the book in my hand.
If it's the last thing I do before I die, you're going to read a volume of something in digital and you're going to love it.
The only way I will read a volume of something digitally is if I have no hands and I can't physically turn the page and all I can do is fucking hit the tablet with my fucking nose to go to the next page.
I'm fucking cutting off your arms.
Yeah, I won't read digital. There's no way you're gonna get. There's no way you're gonna get. But overall, I mean, I can't really say much else other than I had a sense of nostalgia without knowing anything about it. It's just like it really made me feel like a kid again, watching those really, like I said, the obscure those weird fucking 80s animated films that were kind of a little bit too mature for us. Yet we still watched them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know why?
Some of those were dark as fuck. And we shouldn't have watched them, but they're dope.
Yeah.
You know why you have this feeling of nostalgia is because for me, when I read this, there was like this je ne sais quoi that I wasn't quite sure. Like, it was like, I really love this, but it's reminding me of something. And I went to look for it, and the inspiration is actually Wizard of Oz mixed with the Inferno.
Oh, Dante's Inferno.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it made when I read that, I was like, exactly.
Every part of the every time it changed to a different canto.
Yeah. So it's Wizard of Oz, but like darker. And when I read, I was like, this is the je ne sais quoi that I was looking for. It was like, yes. So you have like, he's looking for his heart, the courage, the bravery, the brain, because he needs to think about what he's doing. He needs like the brain and everything. So it made the whole lot of sense.
It's really something, like, something so little could have so much heart. Like, I feel like this is one of those books that I would definitely read to one of my kids, like to one of my future kids, or to my niece, or to, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, this is one of those books that I can like literally sit there and share it with them, and like there's the subtext
pages, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They're beautiful, dude.
Yeah, and like, he's adorable enough, but like, and there are adult themes into it, especially with the whole slavery thing and like all that. And like, some of the violence. But like, the thing is, it's definitely a story of perseverance. And even like even when big reveal happens at the end, he's like, I don't care, I'm still a hero. I'm still gonna do this.
Dude. Great messages in this book to just never give up and to always kind of like stay true to who you are. You know what I mean?
And he just wanted to save his girlfriend.
I know, dude. I know.
I love it so much. Like, he's just like an adorable little metal packaged heart, dude.
And it's crazy that it's like, who would have thought? You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest with you. When I saw the cover of it and I read the description, I was already like, you know what? I kind of want to check that out. For whatever reason, I didn't pick. I think the first issue sold out, if I'm remembering correctly, actually. So I don't even think it wasn't even a book that Collector's Paradise had on the shelves. I think the second print came out and they sold out of that. So It's not like I even had the option. And I don't think I was getting the advanced PDFs from IDW yet. And then I reached out to him, I think, halfway through, because I think, Jen, you said something about the book. And I think a lot of people in the IG comic community we're talking about this.
Donut, DC Comic Queen.
Yeah.
Friggin' Jen was talking about it. Like, it
But
was
I talked about it late, though, because I wasn't able to pick up the first number. I found it like weeks later, and I was like, this is amazing. I love it.
It's just it's something unique, dude. I'm just so happy for the creators that it got all this buzz around it, that he was able to continue his story. It's just a positive message in the book. We don't get that enough in comics,
I also love how the creative team is so friendly. Like, on social media, they are really responding to fans. They are really sharing, they are commenting, they're liking, and it shows that they're proud of what they did, but they're also like conscious that the fans are there for them, like they're happy to share with you. It's not just like, here's my story, read it, enjoy it. It's like, I'm happy you enjoy it. Like, it makes me happy.
Yeah, like when I did the review of the trade, Booher freaking followed me back. I'm like, oh, awesome, cool. Like, thanks, bro.
I know him and Drew Zucker followed the Comic Lounge page too,
yeah.
And I think I commented on Donut's picture, and I was like, fuck, man, I really need to read it. And then he commented underneath, he's like, yeah, you do. And I was like, don't trip, dude, I'm going to read it. And then I want to chat with you. I want to have a chat before Volume 2 drops, or maybe in the middle of Volume 2. He's like, sure, dude, no problem. And then I ended up messaging him. And I think I want to get like halfway into Volume 2 before I do a chat with him too, because, well, not to mention the fact that I'm like super fucking booked up now, all through, I think almost up until middle of September now. So,
bro, it's like the first week of August.
I think I have 3 the week I come back, and then Jen, I'm doing the video with Jen on the 18th. So I literally have something I'm filming every single day for the rest of my life. But yeah, back to Canto.
I suggest everyone should read it. Like, the thing is, it's like, I feel like this is one of those titles that will like literally span like age gaps and generations, because it's The cuteness of it, first off, the cuteness of just of his initial character design off top, kids love it.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
Like, you know,
my daughter loved it.
Yeah.
But don't you think it's a little bit dark for kids, though?
Yes, but I don't know. My daughter watches some weird shit, so I don't think it'd be too dark for her. But she literally saw it on my nightstand, and I was I was about to get ready for bed. She's like, "Oh, Canto," and I was like, "What the fuck? Did you read that? Like, I didn't tell you what that was." And she's like, "Yeah, I sounded it out." And I was like, "Do you like the character?" And she's like, "Yeah." And so she loved it, dude. The cover alone got her, and she's 5. I think that's the magic of it, like you said. It's gonna bridge gaps. This is like an all ages book, but anybody can enjoy it. It doesn't matter. I've seen guys in their 50s buying this book from the shop. You know what I mean? Like, this is just a book that like people love because it's really well written.
Well, I mean, it's like Wizard of Oz, right? A classic.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter your age, no matter whatever, it's still a classic. And the fact that this story made me think of Wizard of Oz the first time I read it, like, that's why I loved it. It was like this new take on such a classic, but so fresh and different. It's original, but it still has this connection, you know?
I didn't even pick up on the Wizard of Oz. Why didn't I pick up on that?
No. Oh my god, it's the first thing I thought of.
What really the thing that one of my standout things is Zucker's work here.
Yeah.
Zucker's work on this is like I can't stress enough like how well orchestrated the paneling in this stuff is. Like, really look, like you have the one where he runs up the spear where you know right here where he runs up the spear, dude. Freaking awesome! Look at that. Like, of course he's like 2 feet tall. Of course he's gonna run up the spear.
Look at this fucking splash page. It's just phenomenal. The coloring for me is what was probably one of my favorite things.
This shit right here.
The whole universe. Like, the coloring for me mixed with the art, it really like builds this perfect universe for this story. I also really love how this might sound like really stupid, but I love how the Malrix is actually looking like a monster. You know, sometimes like the mean monster is more cute than horrifying, but in this it's actually really scary. Although it's still cute because, you know, like, you kind of learn of the personality behind it, but
he's literally a big ass puppy.
Exactly, but visually it's still scary.
I love the partnership between them and everything, dude. The character designs in this book, the message behind this.
Some of the monsters that they fight too, like, Jesus, they are horrifying, but man, it doesn't take away from the literal heart of this whole series.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's horrifying, but the thing is, you got the complete contrast of Kanto's design, where it's like, oh, this cute little thing with an axe is about to kill this giant monster. Hell yeah, you know. And granted, it is. Oh, look, Yellow Brick Road. How come I never? Damn,
there's a lot of.
Yeah. You want to know what's really embarrassing? There's a fucking L. Frank Baum quote at the beginning of the fucking trade from the Wonderful Wizard of Oz. If I only had a heart. Come on,
I know. That's what I'm telling you.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Like,
you know, sometimes I completely ignore those things, and I maybe I shouldn't. Like, I'll flip the first couple pages automatically and get right into the meat of it.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I read the quotes by other creators that's at the beginning of the trade, but somehow I glossed over the Wizard of Oz quote. Like Delilah S. Dawson, she wrote a quote. Comic Week. Gabriel Rodriguez, the co-creator of Lock and Key. These are great quotes, and I always like reading those more because I kind of want to see who they got to get the quotes. And you know, Delilah Dawson even says Labyrinth. You know, that it reminded her of Labyrinth. That's
wow.
You know, like, that's another fucking, that's a weird fucking kids movie. Well, it's not even like, I wouldn't even call it a kids movie because that movie's fucking, that could scare the shit out of some kids. But that's the magic of Jim Henson too.
If it was ever turned into any kind of adaptation, I would love to see it. Like, it's just this one particular story arc. I would love this. This would be one of those things where, like, they would need a big budget for. They have to keep them small. They have to keep them small. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like a Peter Jackson thing, like how he made friggin' Elijah Wood literally a hobbit.
No, you know what? I would love to see, like, the Jim Henson Studios make, like, not a bunch of CGI, but, like, actually build, like, puppets and stuff like that. Like, they could make a really dope movie out of this, all puppetry. Think of the technology they have now. They still
have the technology.
Yeah,
we definitely have the technology.
They still do amazing work. You know,
Yeah, they do.
That's what it is. It feels like a Jim Henson mixed with Wizard of Oz to me.
And complete cute badassery. Even the variant covers, like all the covers itself, like
I know.
every artist's interpretation. Like, you know, you got George Corona, you got Nick Robles, who freaking did an awesome page too.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking
the colorist did his own variant too. Did you see that at the end?
Yeah. Just looking at it right now.
Not to throw shade at IDW, because I know they've done Lock and Key. They got the Ninja Turtles, which I love. But you don't really see much in the way of creator-owned books from them, like, coming out. Now we're starting to see it. IDW has kind of shifted away from just doing, like, the Transformers, the G.I. Joe. Like, they do that stuff.
Like My Little Pony and Transformers?
Dude, stop. That's a fucking book that should not exist. I can't even tell you how many people pre-ordered that signed set from Collector's Paradise. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, they sold like 100 of them. There's 100 people that care about My Little Pony and Transformers in LA County? That's crazy, dude. That fucking blew my mind, dude. You know, speaking of that, you know, I'll plug it for the shop, dude. We got the second miniseries of Canto available for pre-order, all signed by David Booher, and then it comes with a certificate of authenticity at the end too, which I think is pretty. Ed's going to be doing that with some other creators too, which I think is pretty sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, since we can't do signings, you know.
So yeah, no, you got to
better than nothing.
Got to do something, bro. I would love to see this in any form of adaptation, because the thing is, it's like, it's not one of those complicated tales. Like, it's not like Lock and Key where you have to get everything 100% completely accurate in order for it to transfer well. It's not like Watchmen. Watchmen was a terrible adaptation because they couldn't fit everything into one movie. You know what I mean? But with this, like, I feel like even if they took a couple things out, like a couple unnecessary things, it would still translate into something like really fantastic, really phenomenal, that I feel like I would definitely take kids to see.
Yeah, dude, I think this would be hugely successful as an adaptation. Animated, live action with puppetry or whatever. I would prefer not to see CGI, because if they're going to make it look somewhat live action, I would prefer the animatronics and build some dope sets. You know what I mean? Like, because that's, I don't know. For me, that's missing in film. I think they really went away from that, and too much CGI kind of takes me out of the story that I'm watching. You know?
Yeah, and it's just so crazy, because every single one of the Clockwork Knights, essentially, they all look the same, but like they have such expressive eyes.
Except that old one, dude. He has like a ribbon over his face that's supposed to be like a mustache. That shit made me laugh, dude. I was fucking dying when I saw that.
Yeah, no, it's great, dude. It's something special, and I can't even describe how special it is, because I feel like people just need to read it.
I couldn't even fathom what I was gonna read. Like, all I knew was that you guys both liked it. I read both of your thoughts on it. I tried to not think about what you guys said so that I could like have my own opinion. I could not have expected the experience that I would get from reading the book.
It definitely pulls at the heartstrings, but not like Tom Taylor pulls at the heartstrings, but like pulls at the heartstrings like you freaking just root for him every single step of the way. There's nothing I don't like about the characters. Nothing I don't like about any character in any of this.
Yeah, it's just an overall really great book, and it's something that I'm really happy that came out, because it feels so different from what was like. You know, Canto came out when I was in in a slump. You know, like I was like, man, I don't want to read anything. I'm not sure. And then Canto came out. I was like, oh shit, like yes, this is what I was waiting for.
Yeah, but like, you know, it came out as such, like the trade came out. It was like one of the last trades to actually get released before shops started closing down.
Yeah.
And I picked it up, and I was just like, you know, not knowing what to expect. I just know that like a lot of people spoke really highly of it and all that. But it was like literally the jump start that I needed, just like, you know, just to get me out of that little weird slump that I feel like everybody was in at that time. Like, right now, everyone's in a different place mentally and emotionally. But like, I feel like you need to, like, you know, just a quick pick me up. It's like Ryan said, it's an easy read, and I can't stress enough how much I freaking like this.
Perfect lighthearted book to get you out of a slump. And there's very few books that do that for me, especially nowadays. Some comics even take themselves too seriously, especially Marvel and DC. Like I said before we started recording, I caught up on Batman, and it still fucking sucks. And I'm just like, what the fuck are they doing? I'm telling you, dude, it's about to be a day, dude, where I'm just like not even buying a DC comic book because
that's big. That's huge for you to say.
Yeah, it is, because my fucking left arm is tatted the fuck up with DC characters. So, I mean, my love for DC goes back, dude. I mean, that was my first comic book, but...
Read Injustice.
I will read Injustice. Right now, though, I have so much indie stuff that's in my to-be-read pile. All that Black Crown stuff that Shelley Bond sent over, I still got, like, 3 more volumes of that. I bought this book by Scott McCloud. You know, the guy that wrote Understanding Comics? You've never heard of it, Jen?
No.
Look up Scott McCloud.
Okay.
He wrote a book. It's called Understanding Comics, and he basically breaks down the medium of comic book creating. They use it as a textbook in some comic book classes. But yeah, so I just have so much stuff that like I'm not even sad that I'm not reading more DC and Marvel. I have, like I said, I have a few books, but I'm all for reading more indie. I keep adding more and more indie books. As I see something announced, I'm like, you know what? Even if I don't know the creator, I'm like, you know what? I want to support people that are creating for themselves. Bitterroot. Look at that, dude. Look what that book has become. Even since we talked about it, it won an Eisner, and I think the second volume is even stronger than the first.
The second part of the arc, or second part of the arc. It's wow. It's crazy.
I haven't read it yet, but it's on my.
But yeah, I'll just finish off real quick. Canto, I think all 3 of us agree. We love the book. We highly recommend it. Make sure you go out and pick it up.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
It's a must read.
This is just another great example of what indie comics can give you. An experience that you won't get from Marvel and DC. And it's because it's like they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears into their creation, and like it shows.
Yeah. Especially with first volumes. It's like, like this is it. Like if it's not successful, this is it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they have to really show out for it. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I was reading something about Invincible. I hate to circle back, but this is very relevant. Like I heard when the initial like first 8 issues or so were coming out, it was late.
It was really late.
Yeah, it was late, and there was talks about cancellation, and sales were down, and then Ryan Otley hopped on, and then boom, it was a complete turnaround.
Yeah, that's very true. I was picking it up. I picked it up off the shelves, and I loved it from the beginning. Dylan, the common theme that we've been talking about for weeks now is those little moments, right, in comics, and how important they are.
And this is filled with little moments. This whole freaking Canto book is filled with little moments. That's yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, that's all. Like there's so much we're not getting from Marvel and DC. That's one of my main problems with them. I just read an old Spider-Girl comic. Dude, this comic should be coming out nowadays. You know what I mean? Like you gave a perfect one single issue, so many good character moments, and you don't see that. And Marvel now, like I think I talked to Jerry Conway, and he was telling me he read the Dawn of X, right? And he's like, oh yeah, it was cool, it was well written, but like you started here, and then at the end you ended up right back where you were at the beginning, kind of. He's like, it literally just circled back, and I think
actually, actually, now
right, and I don't know, dude. It's just I guess what I'm trying to say is, indie comics are way better right now than anything that Marvel and DC are putting out. And I'm not trying to throw shade at any of the creators, but that's just how I feel. I know Jen fucking agrees with me. I don't even think I need to ask her.
But I feel it's because they have more. I might be wrong. This is just my personal impression, but I feel like it's because they have more creative control over their story. Whereas Marvel and DC, there's like a bunch of people like behind the writer that says, no, change this, we're gonna add that. Like it's not as genuine, maybe. I don't know. That's how I perceive it.
It's not like it's like the final. It's not the actual vision. It's like it's a vision supplemented by the standards of those the big two publishers. You know what I mean?
You have editorial breathing down their necks. You know what I mean? Like on one hand, you have DC, you got AT&T, right? And then over here, you got Marvel. and you got fucking Disney. You know what I mean? Like, you have these big corporations, they don't give a shit. They don't give a fuck about the goddamn comic books. All they care about is the intellectual properties that they can make billions of dollars off if they make a TV show or a film. With these people that are creating indie comics, they're creating it because they love comics. I'm not saying that the writers and stuff and artists at Marvel and DC don't care about comics, but the people that are controlling the comics, they don't really give a shit about the comics. You know what I mean? Like, to them, it's a drop in the bucket of how much money it brings. And I think that's why you see more passion in indie comics. I think that's why you see more originality in indie comics. I only see it getting better. I mean, you see Boom Studios, dude. Not to say they're gonna overtake Image, but man, they're on fucking Image's backs.
They're coming with the heat, dude.
Yeah,
Boom is coming with the heat. I mean, once in future,
Keanu Reeves. That's all I'm saying. Fucking Keanu's on a goddamn comic book with Matt Kint.
I know. By the way, this is gonna be like so weird, but so cool, but so weird at the same time.
Yeah, dude, I'm all for it though. I love Matt Kint's work. I don't know if you guys have read Bang.
We're putting Berserker, Keanu's comic, in a bunch of people who are interested in Conan, Savage Avengers, Old Guard, and like me and one of the guys at work were talking about it because like he turned to me and said, "So you're interested in Keanu's comic?" Right? I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, that makes two of us. We have to spread the word."
Dude, I came into work stoked about it, and Nick was like, "Yeah, it's cool." I was like, "Nick, enjoy. It's Keanu Reeves on a comic book."
It's literally immortal John Wick. What more could you want?
Dude. Dude, it looks dope. But so let's talk about what we're reading this week. What are you guys picking up? I'll start. The two books that I think I'm most excited for are Excellence, obviously, and Seven Secrets from Boom Studios. I think that's going to be an awesome book. I think it's going to be another hit for them, hands down. I think Tom Taylor is one of the more underrated writers. I think he's starting to get up there in recognition. I still don't think he gets enough fucking cred, dude, because he is a fantastic writer.
He is. I think he's one of the best out right now, honestly. There has yet to be a title by Tom Taylor where I'm just like, meh.
I'll give you one.
What? Oh, God.
His Suicide Squad is not the business, bro.
Oh, well, I haven't read that, so.
Okay, don't waste.
From the stuff that I've read has been fantastic. Yeah. Like I love his Deceased series. Like I'm hooked. I'm here for it. I freaking scream to the high heavens about Deceased. Freaking right now, like I said, I'm reading 3 freaking Tom Taylor titles, and I love all 3 of them. I mean, granted, I read All New Wolverine originally in its original run, but reading the trades again, it makes me love Laura Kinney all over again. Friggin' Injustice. I thought it was like going to be like a legit carbon copy of the game. The game was whatever. Like it was, you know, you can obviously tell they were just kind of rushing through it. They just wanted to make something cool, but like just the depth that he put into the actual storyline, and like I said, freaking Dictator Superman is awesome. Freaking, I like how each issue, it's a DC universe wide thing, so each issue focuses on a separate member of the Justice League and how they feel about everything that's going on, which is, I think, is fantastic. I think he really, look at the characters he writes for, he really understands them. Like I think, you know what I mean? He really understands who they are, what they're meant to be, and what they possibly could be. And he pulls no punches when it comes to how he writes them. Especially, that's proven, especially in Deceased. Because, like, in the first story arc, he literally kills off the Trinity. What does that say about him and where he wants to build the story? He said, fuck Batman, fuck Wonder Woman, fuck Superman. This is going to be about everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I love Deceased. The second one, I'm not so sold on yet, but I did read the newest issue, and I had my there's an issue with one of the pages, but it's fine.
I haven't read it yet. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. What are you guys reading this week?
Ryan is such a hater. First off, look, AWA is decent.
I'm not a hater. I just said I'm not reading it. I'm not saying they're bad.
Okay, cool. The thing is, I'm here for Axel Alonso, right? Axel Alonso, like, I think when he was with Marvel, he did some cool stuff when he was there, and as he was especially he was single-handedly responsible for the whole hip hop variant thing.
I'll agree with that, but my love for him is not that. My love for him is Vertigo. Vertigo is where he fucking was making a name. Preacher. I mean, he was editor on Preacher.
Yeah. No, 100%. But I'm talking about more recent. You know what I mean? But like the AWA stuff, dude. It's some weak titles. There's some strong titles. Like, what I like about it is each title is kind of self-contained in minis. Mm-hmm. And he got some really awesome writers for it. Like Year Zero, he got Benjamin Percy. I love Benjamin Percy. Like he's doing Wolverine right now. Yeah, and Resistance, friggin' Straczynski. Like I think he's really building a world that's really interesting. And it's crazy that Resistance #1 came out right around the time like the U.S. started getting inklings of the whole coronavirus thing.
It dropped the week we went on lockdown. Yeah,
oh, it did.
Because we were supposed to have a signing with him, and that night. The night it got released was the night that Rudy Gobert, the NBA shut down that week. So that's why it was like really trippy, dude.
Yeah, and the way he talks about it, the way he sets it up, it's like in the midst of global pandemic, in the midst of riots, and like the X amount of people die, and then the way he's setting it up, this like whole world is like pretty interesting, and I'm really into it. It's great. So Resistance 4 comes out this week. Also, what else am I looking forward to? Excellence, obviously, because, the homies. And, just the AWA title is in that. And now just reminded me that Tom Taylor title is coming out. I'm excited for that, too.
I mean, I haven't read it, but I flipped through it. The art looks great. And
who's on art?
It's one of the... Boom Studios has been, like... If you pay attention to, like, Once and Future, right? Dan Mora was doing some stuff for them prior, and then he got partnered with Kieran Gillen. That's kind of what they're doing with their artists. I don't want to say they're grooming them to like take on these like creator-owned titles, but like Simone DeMeo, who did Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers crossover, he's doing a book with Al Ewing that's coming out.
Damn, Al Ewing, dude. Al Ewing is freaking awesome.
Al Ewing's great too. But so I don't know who's on art, but it looks good. But Jen, you're quiet over there.
Yeah.
What are you reading?
Actually, I finished, maybe you're going to be mad at me for saying that, but I finished reading Philadelphia this week. And I don't know if you read it.
I haven't read it all yet.
Oh, no. Okay. I was really disappointed.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm not mad at that. I haven't finished it, so maybe I'll be disappointed too.
I'm really disappointed about it. It just fell flat for me. It just, meh. But other than that, I'm preparing to read a book for my Engaging Comics Monday. So I'm reading, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Kindred. Kindred.
Oh, yo, that's actually on my list. Kindred.
Kindred.
It's
that's how you say it,
right? Yeah. Kindred.
Yes, exactly. So this one is pretty heavy. So I've been like trying to build the courage to read it because it's a really like heavy theme. But I think it's a really great read for like Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. It's a great read to think about it. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna read that this week, but I'm not picking anything new. Trying to keep my pull list at the minimum. I had 5 titles, but middle was just ended, so now I'm at 4, and that's it. I don't want to.
Oh my god, I don't even think my pull list has ever been at 4. The lowest my pull list has been is like 20, and right now it's at like 22. But that's because there's like a bunch of Hellboy stuff that's supposed to come out that just hasn't come out for some reason. Like it all got pushed back. I bet you it's because of Scott Alley, but
yeah, will be. It's a good reason to wait to publish things.
Scott Alley's a piece of shit. So
yeah.
Thanks for tainting fucking Hellboy for me, you scumbag.
Forever.
But anyways, I'll probably read Metal. I don't know if
I'm gonna read Metal.
I don't know if it'll be good, but I'll read it. I'm not really like super, like I said, I'm not really like super excited. Excellence is the only book I really care about, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's coming out. You guys want anything else before we get out of here? You want
to? No, I think I'm pretty much covered with everything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, that was another episode of the Comic Lounge podcast. Jen, Dylan, and I want to thank you for being here with us again, and we can't wait to have you on the show again.
Little Bird, come back for Little Bird.
Oh, yes.
As soon as Little Bird, I wanted to ask you, Little Bird, we're sold out at the shop, so once we get it in, we're going to put that on the list, and you have to join us again.
I'm super excited. I don't even know what it's about.
The only reason I want to read that book is because of Jen. That was her first review for the site, was Little Bird #1, and I'm like, damn, dude, not only can this chick write a good review, but I really want to read that fucking comic book now. And I
just
haven't
hope
read
that
it.
you won't be disappointed. Like, imagine if I hamped it up so much and now you're gonna read it and you're just like, oh, Jen.
I mean, if I do, that'll be the first book that you've talked good about that I haven't liked.
But it's a
I
great
trust your taste. You
Yeah,
suggested Monstrous to me. You totally like hit the nail in the head when you said I would love Bitterroot. Like, you know what I mean?
It's true. I have good taste, so I don't know why I worry about.
Oh man, yeah. But yeah, so definitely come back for that. And then Jen is also going to be, just for all you guys listening, Jen and I are going to be doing, I don't know if we're going to call it an episode of Loungin', but we're going to do we're going to have a conversation about women in comics that we're going to be doing. We're going to be filming that in the middle of this month, which will go up towards the end of the month. So definitely looking forward to that with you, Jen. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. You can email us your comments or suggestions, thecomicloungepod@gmail.com. If you want to throw, show us some love, show us some hate, all of the above, send that shit down. Dylan and I love to clap back. And make sure you subscribe. We're on YouTube, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify, pretty much everything. Make sure you subscribe so you're notified every time we drop a new episode of this or any of the other things that I got going up on YouTube. And on that note, we're out.
Peace.